Welcome to another exciting episode of Top Job with me, Mwenesi Musalia. Today we look back on a couple of episodes in season 2 where certain characteristics and themes of successful people have stood out for me, and I want to go over those in a little bit more detail. Some of these themes include grit, the ability to persevere and see through adversity regardless of your circumstance. Another theme which stood out for me was education. Is it or is it not a requirement to make it to the top? Another theme is the ability to keep an open mind and to not necessarily be defined by your circumstances, your education, or your environment. Seizing opportunity and making sure that you take advantage of things that present themselves to you is another characteristic that I saw that some of these guys displayed. Let's look back on the episodes as we look at what exactly are the characteristics that are shared across successful people in life. One of the most obvious characteristics that our guests displayed was having a strong educational background. Now, many of us in this day and age might think that having a good education is not really a requirement because, after all, we can Google everything and we can learn on the job or on the fly. Most employers will actually tell you that they tend to hire for attitude rather than aptitude. However, what many of our guests on the show have shown is that the ability to have a strong educational background all the way up to tertiary, university level, diploma, name it, has opened their minds and their thinking to not only be curious for new information and to absorb knowledge, but to be able to digest that knowledge and churn it out in new inventive ways. Also, the culture of reading has set them apart and has allowed them to have a more open-minded view of the world and to be curious about the world around them by virtue of them being able to read more and internalize information at a much higher level than those who haven't had a strong education. Take Spencer Okach, for example. He went to a very good school and was the captain of several clubs like the Drama Club, and he obviously displayed that a strong educational background was useful to him in getting ahead. Abel Munda the same, the managing director of Liberty. He showed that the progress that he made and the perseverance that he had to be able to go step by step in his educational career really set him apart when it came down to picking, to him being chosen as the managing director of Liberty. Several of these other guests have shown that education was important in being able to open their minds to greater possibilities than those who didn't have an education. Let's listen in.
In my case, I just came out of a physics degree, so you need to.
Oh, your degree was in physics?
Yeah, well, it was astrophysics, but
okay.
It was so the specialization into astronomy and astrophysics is a sort of branch out of physics, actually.
At university?
At university,
wow.
Yeah. So that means in high school you need to be, good at math, for instance.
Right.
There's a lot of hard work just doing the calculations and understanding the systems. What was really lovely about astrophysics is also that you needed to be able to dream and come up with radical theories about things that, because a lot of what's out there in space we don't yet know of. So you need to know what to focus your calculations on. A lot
right.
of it is hard work and hard math, but it also requires that creativity, and that's what pulled me to it. And I think in the end the people that succeed, for instance getting a job at NASA, are the people that have that combination of
right.
Being good at what you do in this case, also just the hard math and so, but also that passion and that curiosity.
When I was in Form 4 with Nesi, I had some really good inspiration from my accounting teacher, who was actually a Ugandan. From that time, my career aspiration had been really shaped, because I thought this accounting thing was interesting, debit and credits, and people talk about, it being very much mathematical, and you find people actually fearing it, but really not. I think accounting is something, it's a very, I won't say an easy subject. Mm-hmm. You really have to like it, but at the end of the day, if you like it, you'll find it quite manageable. I have to say that. And so I went on and studied it even at the university, managed then to even qualify as a CPA. If you are paying for your courses,
yes.
One thing I didn't mention is that because of the good grades that I had, particularly in my ordinary level exams, mm-hmm. I was able to secure a scholarship.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so it was a partial scholarship, and I needed to maintain certain grades, in fact B average or better, in order to retain or keep the scholarship going. Otherwise they would withdraw.
Focus. in line with your business, encompasses a lot of information. The whole reason about university is it gives you an opportunity to increase your capacity.
A second characteristic that really stood out for me and I enjoyed was the ability for our guests to have an open mind. And it's not so much the ability to have an open mind, but to be comfortable with uncertainty. Many of us want to control our environment, to control the outcomes, to control the future. But our guests have shown that it is useful sometimes to not know what lies ahead, to accept the circumstances that are before us and to deal with whatever cards that life deals you. That ability to be comfortable with uncertainty is something that successful people have mastered because, number one, you're then not open to, you're able to deal with disappointment quicker, but also you're able to take advantage of opportunities as they come and not be fixated on a particular plan or things, because things go wrong. Things do happen, and when life happens and things change, how easy is it for you to quickly move on to the next opportunity rather than, sitting down and thinking, oh, I wish I could have remained with the plan that I had. Why didn't this plan work? And you spend so much time analyzing what didn't work instead of being open to the things that actually could work. Let's check out how a couple of our guests in season 2 were able to deal with uncertainty and not be too disappointed when life happened. I'm curious about this boss who you said was the best thing that ever happened to you, because most people watching will say that when you have a horrible boss, it's like, oh my God, now I need to leave this job, I'm tired. But you say that it was a blessing in disguise. Tell me about that.
Because I worked so hard to show him that I know. So I spent a lot of time reading and stuff like that.
Just to prove to him?
Because I was not a marketer. I was straight from class. I've been told to write marketing plans for radio, being sent to do some things.
And all the time he's giving you a hard time.
Yeah, and but I thank him for that and stuff like that.
Okay.
So after that, I learned a lot. And to date, I said, I usually say, is everything I don't want to be.
I must be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I didn't plan to be director general. At the time, I wanted to be journalist. And I loved when I was journalist for a while. It worked very well. And then when I left journalist, I said, I want to move in something where I can still continue to be curious about people, about the world, but maybe a bit more actions oriented. And that was great. So what worked at the time was the Red Cross. I was not as smart as the kid of today, so I would not put the word experimental,
right.
But I always had one principle, is if you're free, okay? So you are the best if you're free.
If you're free.
If you're free, you're committed, of course,
Right.
But don't be stuck in a job, especially stuck in a job. You can be stuck in a lot of things, but not in a job, right?
Right.
I always felt this freedom, so I always felt, including in the difficult moment,
Right.
that if necessary, I will have the time to say, stop, I'm out of here, right? And without, it's not a threat, but it was helpful for me to maintain a certain distance sometimes. Big organization, including the Red Cross. My organization is a lovely organization, but it's also a painful organization, of course. It's big, problems, normal, and it has helped me always to keep that. And what has connected me, just to come back to your question, of course Jerusalem was an extraordinary opportunity, because at the same times, this is exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
At the same times, you know it's difficult. You know people have problems, but it gives you an opportunity to be in Jerusalem.
There we go.
And then you start to understand why people are fighting for this place for thousands of years. And you have the chance to know, to understand. And what I discovered was the light. Jerusalem, incredible light.
And so you finished with Finch. You started getting in touch with
That
government.
local MP was appointed a minister.
Come on.
And when he was appointed a minister, the first call he made is, where's Frank? So I said, okay, this is an honor.
Wonderful.
And it was a difficult decision. Do I leave my business and
Yeah, because
go
what
work?
you've taken 10
Because
years, blood, sweat, and tears.
I was going to be his personal assistant. What it means, all the meetings, all the plannings, all the travel. And so that was a new chapter in life.
So you took the job.
Yeah, I took the job and left Boniface to run the business for tourism.
And it must be very humbling as well, because
humbling.
you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a businessman, obviously you're the top guy making all the decisions, and people are reporting to you. How many staff did you have at Finch by the way?
We had 9.
By the time you were leaving?
9.
About nine permanent guys. So you've got all these people reporting to you, but now you
have to report to someone.
You have to report to someone.
Yes.
And you know, to make that switch, and especially in such a high pressure environment like government, there needs to be something something there. Is it an attitude thing, or what would you say gives you that ability to make that change?
It's an attitude. You can't lead if you can't be led.
Nice.
So 5 years ago, I decided to step down as CEO of that company. I'm still a shareholder in the company, but I wanted to do something completely different.
And we'll pause there as we take a break. A third theme that really brings home the power moves only sentiment is the ability to seize opportunity when it presents itself. It's one thing to have an open mind, but it's a complete different one to seize the opportunity and to take advantage of things that come your way when they come your way. Most successful people, especially our guests on the show, have shown that sometimes you need to be audacious, you need to be bold, you need to be confident to be able to say, you know what, I deserve this. I'm going to take a chance, I'm going to try. Whether it means telling your boss exactly how much you deserve to earn, or actually that you deserve to be number one, or going so far as to text someone who is in a very important position of power that you are the right person for the job. Whatever it takes, whatever your definition of confidence and seizing opportunity is, our guests embody the power moves only sentiment by seizing opportunity. Being shy, sitting in a corner, not really wanting to ruffle any feathers might be a useful survival tactic, but it's important for us to realize that seizing opportunity counts when trying to get ahead. Let's listen in.
I used to be the sole supplier of all promotional materials in Strathmore University,
What are you talking about?
like banners, posters, T-shirts.
How did you pull that off?
So I have 4 friends. We started. We wanted to go into marketing and stuff. So in short, we wanted to form our own ad agency with no experience, only from Google.
While in campus,
While in campus,
studying marketing.
studied marketing.
Uh-huh.
And then that never materialized, the partnership never materialized. But in between, I said that I think I'd unlocked something. So the dean of students used to listen to me. He was not my friend, but he used to listen to me. So there's a day I went to him and told him, boss, you know, I have a company that does these things.
Hold on. You had had you registered a
It was
company?
registered.
It was registered?
Yes.
By being clear about what you want. I didn't want to be the boss,
Okay.
but I wanted to be number one.
I like that.
You know?
I like
Slight difference. Which means I didn't want to be the big boss. That was not my problem. But I knew exactly that I'm best if I'm the number one of a team.
Right.
I know that.
So mediocrity was not an option.
You can't be mediocre as a number one. I don't know, but I don't want the deputy. I don't
Right.
want to be number 2. It was clear for me, and not arrogant. I was very clear.
Right.
So the organization quite quickly offered me, because at the time they offered me to be number 1, and I was in charge of a region. That was perfect for me. And then they said, "Oh, what you need now is to be deputy of something bigger." I said, "No.
I've got 1 week.
No, one day. No, I said I prefer to keep me in a small. I don't care, but I want to be number 1 in the region. It's much more interesting for me."
The breakthrough that I was referring to came about when I was offered a job to go and become the regional financial controller for Alico West Africa. The company was called Alico then.
Okay.
Yeah, so
West Africa.
West Africa.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
so,
the opposite side of Kenya.
Yes, the opposite side of Kenya. But again, I was at that time I was 28.
So you had been working now for about a good 5 years in the US, or?
No, more. That was now the 7th year that I was actually offered the job.
I see.
So that's now when the breakthrough came. So I went to Alico West Africa. I was based in Douala, Cameroon, but responsible for the region, which included basically Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Cameroon. There was Liberia there, but Liberia was at war, so there wasn't much happening there. But it gave me some really good experience. So I was there for just close to 2 years. Then, lo and behold, an opportunity opened up here in Alico, Kenya at that time. And, they called me up, the vice president for the region at that time. He called me up and asked me if I would be interested in the job. And I said, sure. Why not? And I think the reason why things happen that way is obviously people look at the quality of your work.
Of course.
Because why would somebody pick a call? Why would they pick a phone and talk to you and try to interest you in a job? Why? Because obviously they've seen the quality of your work. Otherwise, I don't even think they would bother.
Things that are growing
My
was-
dad is an engineer. So he's an engineer in this factory in Nyanza.
Okay.
And my mom was an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I used to spend a lot of time with my mom. The days my dad wasn't coming home frequently, so we had to find a way to be in business.
And he was working at the sugar plantation
Yes,
at the time.
and he was working at the factory, so many times it's stay long at night in shifts. And we were 6 of us, six children, and so it was difficult to keep up. So we started a business with my mother. We had a little fridge in the house, and our house was located next to a school, primary school. So in the fridge, we decided making ice cools, those little things.
Yes.
flavor.
What the cools? They were called cools.
Yes,
isn't it?
cools.
Yeah.
So kids coming from school would pass by and pick the cools for
that
1
brings
shilling.
back so many memories.
So
I
then when
remember,
there's sports day, I would carry a bucket with my mom and all the cools inside, while everyone makes fun of me, but they didn't know what was in my pocket.
That's a Taslim. Theme number 4, and let's face it, guys, no man or woman is an island. We can't purport to be self-made and to make it on our own. Nobody is like that. We live in a world where we are social creatures and we're social beings. And the fact of the matter is, if you do not have a strong support system, be it family, friends, or people that are directly involved in your day-to-day activities, who will be there to support you, not just in knowing that, listen, I have to go to work, I have to do long hours, I have to travel, and to be understanding and to give you the room to be able to do that is one thing. The other thing is to be able to have someone who will directly support you in your business. Take Joyce Gikunda, for example, with her strong husband and her strong support system in terms of her sons, who are now playing an active role in her business. Having a strong support system is really critical to being able to make it to the top. Let's listen to some of what our guests had to say in terms of what their support systems look like and why it's important for us to really take a proactive role in building the support system around us so that that can be the platform for our success.
My family also keeps me grounded. I think my work is really valuable and important, but I cannot take the weight of the whole world on my shoulders. I should also remain quite humble. I mean, what I said before, it's not that I can direct the whole Red Cross Rakessa network. It's more about speaking the right language, many right languages around the world, and getting people excited.
Sure.
You do that better if you're also grounded yourself in a local reality and a local family in a way.
And
my kids actually help me do my work better.
When I was talking 20 years ago, I think even from time to time I messed up. To be honest, because you were so busy with your job and traveling, and you didn't have hardly time for your family. I've now, I think, found a better balance.
Okay.
So really to really take time for the family, and yes, from time to time there's events that and emergencies, so that I can't just say, well, wait, I'm back next day or next week, and then we sort it out. Now, if there's an emergency right now, I have to run. That is clear. But once we have decided when I'm at home and when I have the time, I spend what I call quality time at home, and we really, enjoy and try to really separate, the things at work from our private life.
Sometimes what I say is that I'm actually drawing the dividends from, my father's prayers, if I can put it that way, because for myself, I don't think I've prayed enough. I think I need to pray a lot more. But my dad was a very religious person, my mother also very religious, and I think when you look at our family has come up, obviously there are a lot of blessings that we've been able to to get from that. But as things just panned out, I mean, when I look back, obviously the way that my career has progressed, and I can only be thankful to God.
There was this one night I remember, my mother-in-law just came in and she made dinner and she was expecting me. Then we get into this meeting where you're just told, keep your phones in this basket. So we put our phones in the basket and the basket left, the room is closed, and so the meeting needs to begin.
People are waiting for you for dinner somewhere.
Yes. Now the meeting began at 7 o'clock. It is now 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. I can't reach my phone.
Can you imagine?
My wife, my girlfriend just thinks, have I been left? So then it's 2 a.m. So I get my phone and say, I'm coming. I think many couples don't realize that business is a life.
I see.
If you're not ingrained into it as a couple,
yeah, because one of the
no
things
way out.
you find many couples, they struggle with being able to balance, because you have this thing of, I expect you to be home, I expect this, I expect this, I expect this, but you're building things around, you're making life work around the business. And you around the
Exactly.
business.
Like I'm planning a trip to Dar to see some farms. So I make sure they have some little holiday as I see the farms.
Fantastic.
You must plan it around it. And you see, it requires a very understanding wife. Actually,
yes.
Tess is really the best decision that happened to me.
Well, Tess, wherever you are, well done. You've got an amazing guy.
It's she gives you room to run the business.
run the business.
She participates in it, helps you see things through
Yeah.
it. That's quite important.
Finally, a theme that stood out for most of the guests, if not all, was that when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Grit is the ability to persevere and see through difficulty and hardship and adversity regardless of your circumstance. It's about choosing which hardship you want to deal with and pushing through with it regardless. Raising a family, starting a business, dealing with a difficult boss, getting up to go to work, all of these things are difficult, but having grit means knowing that the outcome is far more important than the journey or the process, and that whatever it is that you have set your sights on, your targets, your objective, that is what is driving you, rather than the little obstacles that come in your way as you're moving along in your journey. Many of our guests on Top Job have shown that they're very objective-minded, they're very focused on the end game, they're focused on the outcomes, and they're focused on pursuing their dreams and their goals, regardless of what that journey looks like. And having the necessary grit to pick the hardships, to know that, you know what, this has happened, let me not sit and dwell and lament and cry about what has happened, but the ability to say, okay, you know what, this has happened, let's keep moving forward, is what has set our guests apart. And let's look at some of how they have displayed their grit in the face of adversity and the ability to persevere.
I come from a very humble family.
Everybody says that.
No, it's actually quite humble. I won't lie to you.
Okay.
I was born in Dandora,
Okay, well.
and then we moved to Kariobangi South, and then we moved to Komarok. So from Komarok, I have good recollection.
Okay.
Dandora and Kariobangi,
And K-South, eh?
those are stories. So that's why I actually say that's why I think my career started.
Your career?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because I started playing soccer there, and I was like the king of the street.
In Komarok?
In Komarok, Sector 3A. I was number 553. Still starting strong. So yeah, that's where I started, and went to primary school, first in Nairobi, and then at class 6, I don't know what I'd done, but they moved me to a boarding school.
With your parents?
With my parents. Once again, like shaping me some of the things I practice to date. Like, I think at that point is where I want to say like my character really formed.
In boarding school?
In boarding school, at class 6, because this is the first time you're at a school at about 800 guys. So I have these 800 new people are going to be my friends for the next 3 years.
Hold on. How old were you when you were taking a loan?
I think I could have been in class 6 or something, maybe.
So you're going to school at this time, so...
At night, we'd make the cools. And then because our house is next to the school, people would buy the cools, so we needed a bigger fridge. And so there was ART. I don't know if you can. There was ART. So I used to give a loan. So we took a loan to buy our first fridge. And we'd pay every week.
So you're going to school, so at night you're making cools?
Yep.
And you're going to school like a normal kid, you're going to primary school. So at what point are you selling and doing all of this other work?
It's at 4 o'clock sports time. Me, I run home, get cools or make cools.
Aha.
During the market days, go to the market and come back. So it was, I think my mom taught me to be a business person.
And among the people I sit by chance, people told me, this organization is very interesting. And then I started to look into that more carefully. And I said, the other one.
So you actually went and chose your job?
Yeah, chose the people first.
You chose the people. And did they welcome you with open arms and say, Eve,
not at all.
You are who we were looking for. Come over.
Not at all. Not at all.
You're the right fit.
Because no, and if I reflect at the time, I was slightly a little bit arrogant, but good, I would say. Because I decided, yes, that's the job. And then I called and sent my application, and they said, we don't have, we'll answer you in 3 months. And I said, okay, no, sorry, you have 1 week. You have 1 week to answer.
Oh, well done. Yeah, so give me, look.
1 week.
I know that's your protocol.
No, and I really respect that, but I have to go and I have to make some decision, so you have a week.
That's incredible.
And lucky me.
But then still, I had to do some jobs here and there to keep going because I needed to pay for my my residence hall. So I didn't. That wasn't part of the scholarship, and so I had to do some hours in the evening. Office cleaning here and there. And these things, by the way, they also give you good experience. They give you good discipline and good experience. Because I don't believe really any job is a bad job. It just depends on what you want as a person in life. Okay, so I would make a little bit of money to pay for the residence halls. And yeah, that was for about 3.5 years that I had to do that.
So you've worked in government, and now there's this new thing that comes out of somewhere called 10 senses.
Actually, government was nice. I wish we stayed, but we lost the election.
Oh, okay. There's a small issue of politics.
There's a small issue of politics.
Yeah.
And so now, now everyone has to change. So what happens now? This time when we've lost the election.
This is which one? The 2014?
2013.
2013.
Yes,
huh?
yes. And then now you're thinking, do I go back to my business? And then I meet Alan again. Alan says, Alan, 10 senses is here. We're looking for someone to run it. We are able to let you buy in shares. Is it something you'd like to do? At that time, I also had another job offer with another NGO, a big NGO in the region.
Right.
So I had 2 interviews all the same day. And guess what? I picked the one that was in debt.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
There was this, I don't know, it's just what you are. An entrepreneur, you want to fix things.
Okay.
I felt...
and that was 10 senses?
That was 10 senses.
Okay.
The decision then was either we fix it or we close.
So what were the circumstances around 10 senses at the time?
At that time, I think they needed strong leadership here. And
they'd been in the country for some time?
10 senses had been, now it's our 10th year.
Guys, if they can make it, then so can you. Being able to have a strong educational background, having an open mind, seizing opportunity when it presents itself, being proactive about building a strong support system, and most importantly, having the grit and the determination to persevere through hardship are all things that are within our grasp, and we should be able to seize the opportunity and build some of these things for ourselves so that we can be successful. Thank you for watching today's episode of Top Job with me, Mwenethi Musalia, and remember, it's all about power moves only.